Yes, yes. Without any further ado, we're back in the building. It's Lindsey Huddleston with the SPS Edge Show. With my guys in the building, got Terry McCord Jr. holding us down with the nice avant-garde artwork in the background. He keep it all the way funky and smooth. And then Coach Orlando, rocking Orlando, just back from close to Orlando. Just got
There
back
it
from
is.
Florida a while ago. Ain't no telling where Orlando's gonna be, right, Terry? We don't know where he gonna be
Nah,
tuning in from, man. Ain't no telling. Oh, welcome back, man. Talk about your trip down to Florida, man. You was representing AAU. Talk about that.
That was a good trip. It was the National AAU convention. A lot of folks from all over the country representing a whole lot of sports. So it's a lot of good discussions, a lot of good feedback. So it was a lot of sharing
Okay.
tactics and techniques and what works in one state and what doesn't work in another. So I came back with a lot of good information, hopefully that we can use here in Michigan. So
I'm sure that is. So tell me, what is the tone of things in the AAU community? AAU is such a firebrand, third rail type term. I mean, I thought 4 letters were bad, but them 3 letters have people up in arms, man. You say those. So what is the tone? What's the pulse of AAU on the national scale right now?
right now, it's everybody's just really trying to come back from the epidemic. Of course, you had your open states where everything is just booming, and then you had your other states where we're still struggling. And Michigan is one of those. There's a lot of discussion about the term AAU in terms in the basketball meetings, the issues of the blanket term of AAU as far as youth basketball is concerned. We had a long discussion. I had discussions with guys from Colorado, Missouri, California. AAU has become that blanket term for just any type of basketball, the gym shoe circuit, anything. And they're just kind of unfortunately dragging our name in the mud.
I know this wasn't one of our listed topics, but you have been really good, and I've been ear hustling a lot. Just being on the podcast with you, being at events with you, like the SBS Star Showcase, and trying to clear up the people. Like, look, don't think just because young people out here playing a non-high school schedule that is AAU, and that's probably one of the biggest misnomers and misunderstandings, right?
Right, it is, and the national organization has seen it, and the National Basketball Committee has actually reached out. We've got that big law firm from New York now, and we're going to be issuing a whole lot of cease and desist letters throughout the country because you have these youth tournaments running, and they're billing it AAU tournaments,
and they're cashing out too,
and they're not. So collectively, we're going to get together, and as we run across them, we're going to contact the law firm, and I mean, and
you gonna run up on them. Oh, you gonna run up on them.
We're gonna run up on them the proper way.
The proper way. Hit it with that paper.
That's it.
We got our extended brother right here, Aaron May, saying, "What's up, fellas? Good evening. What's good, man? What's good with you, man? We need to get you back on the rotation, man." Well, that's good, man. We're gonna get right to it. I had a slide for the World Series, but I think it's understood. We're talking World Series baseball, man. Let me tell you something. What I love about the World Series, and I got my old Orlando. You know about this West 7 baseball playing day.
Oh, yeah.
Brown team, and everybody wanted to play on the black team. That was my guy, who was the coach of the black team. He was the man. He just comes to me. But
you were West 7. I came from the Rosedale League.
The Rosedale League. Excuse me. Yeah. Get the strap. Oh, that's what Coach Kevin Marshall say. Get the strap on these cats. He gonna hit him with that paper. Hit him with that paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kevin Marshall. Coach, hello, my brother. We appreciate you and everything you got going on representing the Bearcat country. He just wrapped up his football season, Terry, and he's transitioning right over to basketball. So, SPS is going to be making their way up here. I want to talk about the World Series. What I love about the World Series and playoff baseball, man, in my view, with all due respect to baseball, like I was saying, I was a West 7 guy, shout out Rosedale and all those. I was a catcher, and I loved it. Playoff baseball should be marketed totally separate from the regular baseball season. This is not taking anything away from the traditionalists who love going to the game during the workday, and I love that. But playoff baseball is action-packed, man. I mean, it's almost like taking something and condensing it. Because I just sat down and started looking, it was like pop, 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 pop. It's like they're not playing, man. And them Astros, boy, we down one game? Let me show you what's up. And Dusty Baker, man, I love it. Orlando, I don't know if the last time you swung a bat was during your baseball days with Rosedale, or if you was down in Orlando and somebody was acting up, you had to reach for it. But when you think about the World Series, man, and what's going on with Atlanta and Houston tied 1-1, what comes to mind?
What comes to mind is some exciting baseball. I mean, these teams are evenly matched. Both of them can just kick out a bunch of runs on any given moment. It's just this is going to be an incredible matchup. The only thing that I wish Major League Baseball would do is start the game a little bit earlier.
Okay.
When you get my age,
yeah,
and I got to get to work in the morning, it gets a little, you know what I'm saying?
That's playoffs period, man.
Yeah, but this is Aaron's right. This World Series is going to be the best in over 5 years. It is so evenly matched.
Yeah,
and I think that really for me, both of them had that offensive firepower. What's going to make the difference here is going to be the pitching.
The pitching, yeah.
And to be quite honest, the pitching is just about even. But for me, and I'm going to call it out, I don't think the last time the Chicago Sky, you didn't give me my kudos for picking, because I told everybody to go ahead and bet their money on the Chicago Sky.
Yeah.
And that came out. So I'm going to give you my prediction.
Okay.
You gotta go with Houston.
Got to go with Houston. I'm loving that. So all the bookies in Vegas now, they all running to the phones. They running to the bookmaker and say Orlando and laid the line down. Put it out there. What did Aaron say? It will be a bullpen series for sure. Whoever comes up big in pitching. Yeah, you're right.
That is the key to this, because I mean, both of those teams can put it. They can get them runs up.
Yeah, and the key thing too, man, is that when you talk about pitching, I mean, no matter what, the pitcher only gets to throw so many times, so that rotation is important too. And that's one of the things I like about baseball is that it's one of those games that every game has its rules that you got to follow, but it's certain things that you got to do. I mean, from a managerial standpoint, all that. I mean, I'm just feeling Dusty Baker and how he just continues to be that. I think they said when they won the playoff series against Chicago, they talked about that when people come to see the team, like when other celebrities come and hang out, instead of them going to see other celebrities on the team, they go see the manager, Dusty Baker. Terry, it's like instead of them coming just want to hang out with the other multimillionaire players, no, they want to go see Dusty. And they say this is consistent. So that says so much about him that at this age, at this part in his NBA Major League Baseball career, that they still come back to see him. You feel what I'm saying? What are you thinking about this World Series overall, Terry?
I think it's been fun. I mean, it's only been 2 games, but I think I'm happy that these 2 teams made it this far. I think both of them, both teams have a lot to play for. I think one, just the Braves, their best hitter, Ronald Acuna Jr., got out the beginning of the season, and dude, he was up there keeping up with Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Shohei Ohtani. Like, he was up there. Like, dude was hitting home runs every other game. He steals bases, makes incredible throws. Losing him, the Braves took a bit of a slide. I mean, they took a bit of a slid down, and the Mets were leading for a minute with Jacob deGrom, and even Philly got up on them a little bit with Bryce Harper and Andrew McCutchen. But Atlanta's always been resilient, and a lot of that comes with their pitching. Shout out Eddie Rosario. Like, he's a really good hitter as well. Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, like Aaron says, Freddie Freeman, those guys can hit the ball. And the thing about the Braves, they tally him up. I think they still had the record for the most runs in a game against the Marlins. I can't remember the date on that, but I think it was like 27 runs. They can stack them up. And so when you play against a team like that, on the other side, you got Altuve, Carrera, Michael Brantley. Those guys can rack them up too. And the Astros are playing for something to prove to the league that they can win a World Series fair. I mean, they had that whole cheating scandal. I mean, they're still getting heat everywhere they go, especially Yankee Stadium, all those big headlining games. They're getting a ton of heat for cheating because there's still players like Altuve, Carrera, those players that were around when they won that World Series cheating a little bit. They were cheating. So that they're trying to prove that they can still win. And when you got a manager like Dusty Baker, he's always going to play and have something to prove and be aggressive. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going 7, but I'm feeling Atlanta. I'm feeling Atlanta.
Oh, they got the split. Hey, what Aaron said, don't sleep on Freddie Freeman.
Yeah,
look, I'm not taking. Look, both of these things, but people have been waiting for this. Baseball needed this.
Yeah, I agree.
They really needed this type of series.
Because for me, when I sat down and saw it last night, I got in the evening, I was kind of tired, and I was chilling, getting ready for today, and I said, man, I need to be watching this. Like, this is like, it grabs you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And what did Aaron say? He said these teams, they score in bunches and keep relentless pressure. Yeah. I said, that's huge. So no, we'll see. And check out my guy, Coach Morrow. He said, "Go Braves." I mean, hey, we got a Braves thing going on right there. ATL in the house. I'm kind of partial to Houston myself, not necessarily because of their scandal. I'm just a huge fan of Dusty Baker. I'm gonna follow him wherever he goes, man, and that's what's going on. Well, that's a good thing. We'll keep watching, and I will have my memory in order because Orlando said, "Hey, watch out for them Astros." Terry said, "Watch out for them Braves."
Freddie Freeman won. He was the NL MVP last year. I mean, he can connect the ball to the bat anytime. So they got a lot of hitters around him.
Yeah, hitters for sure. Well, that's a great topic. I want to thank someone. This is my guy, Charles Ward. This is my hoop buddy, Charles Ward, right here. He said, after this topic, I want to ask, what do you all think of Michigan State's game last night against Ferris? Can cupcake games really judge how your team is? Thanks. I'm pretty sure this is my ball. My guy, Charles Ward, he's a serious hooper. I haven't seen him in a while, and we'll see. And then also, too, Hoop Baller. Scoop, what up, Hoop Baller? Scoop, appreciate it. Said, how did Gabe Brown look? Because he has athletic ability, but I wonder, has his game reached its peak? Dang, Hoop Baller Scoop be always putting it out there. Okay, so here's what I want to say. Thank you, Charles, for bringing up last night. You're absolutely right. These games are very important, in my opinion. And speaking of Gabe, look at it, Joey. Joey has struggled with his confidence. Tom said in the press event last week when I went there with them that there's no question that Joey has had a disappointing season last year. And the reason why I use this image, because look at this, what this does. This opportunity to play Ferris State, and mind you, Charles, Ferris State won the national Division II championship with Coach Brockema. We saw Coach Brockema at the Horatio Williams Foundation in Orlando a couple years ago. Remember? When he came down there.
Ferris State is no slouch.
Yeah, and to be honest, another thing too is Coach Brock. That's a great story within itself, Terry, because Coach Brock was a volunteer coach for like 6 years at Ferris State. Mm-hmm. He was a volunteer coach. Talk about trying to explain something to your wife, your lady, and he ended up getting a head coaching job and winning the national championship. So I want to add to this a little bit more. How did Tyson Walker? I wasn't at the game last night. I was working with some of my sports psychology clients. Like, hey, I love to be at the game, but I was also doing SPS work in that regard. But what I do want to say is what I think, Terry, is important about games like this, and this is to Charles's point, is that you got to give some confidence to your team, man. These are games you got to see the ball go through the basket. This has been the first game where they've had fans back in the Breslin like that since the end of the COVID season, if you will. It's been so long with that. So I think it's very important. And then again, I do understand, Charles, what you're saying when you talk about, you pay a team, and think about it, a team like Ferris State, and Orlando made a good point. They're not necessarily a cupcake team, but generally speaking, it's an exhibition game. So the team that's coming in, they either like, look, we about to get paid to lose, or we might mess around and win and be huge. Think about a couple years ago when Albion came and played and things like that. It's a big payday. But I think these games are very important, especially for a Michigan State team that is not ranked like that is really having its own identity issues, trying to figure out who they are. Right. I think these games are very important, and they needed that. And it's also a game to get the Stevie Izzos in the game and all that and let them get their time in. Oh, what do you think before I go to Terry?
And they got to get the cobwebs off. They need to get on the floor in a real game environment and work the thing out before they hit the big time. And I agree. It's programs like Ferris State couldn't survive if they didn't play at Michigan State. Michigan State is keeping the lights on at Ferris. What I'm saying? That's how Ferris State has gym shoes.
Yeah,
right now.
And look at Gabe and Joey getting after. They don't care that this kid may be someone that they'll never see play ball beyond that. This is what they got to do. But you're right. They got to get out there.
And to be quite honest, the Ferris States of the world, and I get Charles's point. And for the Ferris States of the world, it's fantastic because they, that's helping them improve tremendous.
Yeah.
They're playing the best of the best. But for a team like Michigan State that's on that level, you just want to get out there, work some things out, and like you said, get into a rhythm, work on some offense, work on some defense, and prepare and take so you can take that gradual step up to the next level when you really hit the real competition.
Yeah, and practice today is going to be really important. They're going to go over that game film. They're going to talk about some things. It ain't nothing like getting out there. Aaron says Michigan State will rely heavily on the wing guard play. Yeah, they will, man. And to your point, Hoop Baller Scoop, about Tyson Walker, and the time I did see him play was in a complete exhibition on the day that they had open run for the most part, or just really open to the public. He's a very confident young man. And what I get, he probably has somewhat of a chip on his shoulder because he's coming from Northeastern, trying to prove something, whatnot. But Terry, what do you think?
No, I mean, these exhibition games are literally what they're called, exhibition games. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you play. Typically, like teams that usually pay, a team to come up, usually an inner city college, not inner city college, but in-state college to come in, fund their programs, get them to play and up and down, match up against each other. But I mean, it's still a competition. I mean, Ferris State wants it just as bad as Michigan State wants it. And it's just a way to kind of get the blood flowing, the game-like environment, having people around watching, and to beat up and go against someone that other than your teammate. I think these games are really important. It's almost like equivalent to high school preseason scrimmages where you go up to, my team will go up to the Mount Pleasant Maury courts, or we go down to Detroit and play some teams down there. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, you get to scrimmage and run different sets and run different looks. Oh, we've been running this against our own team. How will it look against a team that has no idea what's coming? So it's just like gives you more of a game time feel. And it just gives, like I said, a couple more extra bucks to that team that's coming up. And there's no experience like playing another division than playing a Division I team. So Ferris State, like Coach Orlando said, like, that's a great experience, taking all of that and then taking whatever you learn from that experience to your Division II level and hopefully dominate and win another national championship.
Yeah, I think it works good for everybody with the exception of the score. It was 92-58, so that was a huge, huge confidence booster for Michigan State. But it was 15,000 fans there, and you can't make that up. I mean, 15,000 fans, Rabbit fans. I mean, this is the Michigan State weekend. I mean, talk about to be a Spartan fan. I mean, you got the Ferris State game opening up, and then you turn around in a couple of days, right at 12 noon, you got Michigan State. Moni Williams in the building. She said, "What's up with the Lakers and Russell? Westbrook looks terrible. I think he has a horrible basketball IQ. He can't. He's a great at stats. Tell me I'm wrong, fella. Okay, just hold that thought, Moni. Hold that thought. The Lake Show is up next. I want to get this comment from Aaron. We're going to talk about our great sponsors, then we're going to talk about Moni's point, because that is right on point with what we talked about. Aaron says we will see how much Izzo has adjusted his offense, if at all. That's for sure. Well, here's the one thing I'll say about that, Aaron. One adjustment is definitely made that he definitely says that he took Draymond Green's advice, and he's gotten some younger people on staff. He brought Cueto back, Matt McQuaid is coming back on. He's made some different adjustments. He's given OG Mike Garland special assistant status. That's so he can jump on the plane if need be and go help a Miles Bridges, which I think has been working, with the exception of who dunked that on Miles the other night, Terry? Jaylen Brown got up on Miles something.
You've been getting up on everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. Miles is coming like effortless too. He's gonna be in the slam dunk competition. He better be.
So let's take a break for a quick second. We got to shout out the man of the hour, Mr. Horatio Williams and the Horatio Williams Foundation. I was on the phone with H earlier today. We got a great event coming up, Orlando, November 14th. A little piston action, a little mental health roundtable, and also reintroducing to some and making an introduction to others of Mr. William McCoy, the new assistant athletic director for Michigan State High School Athletic Association. He'll be there in the building, but I'll be telling you guys more about that. Also, Moni said, why don't Mateen Cleave try to get on the staff? But that's another conversation of what that is. Also want to shout out Gilead Sciences. Want to thank them for being supportive of what we got going on and what we've been doing over here, as well as Dick's Sporting Good. But right on cue, Moni, we do want to talk about what's going on. What's up with the Lake Show? What's up with the Lake Show? Talking about LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and many, many others, man. It's like, what is going on? My guy Kevin Marshall says, I'm a big fan of Lakers, but honestly, I think Westbrook is not the perfect fit for them. But we'll work it out. But it's a good struggle for us. I'm totally with you on the Lake Show. So here's what somebody made this comment, and I thought it was the best comment I heard for Russell Westbrook. Just let him come off the bench and be part of the second squad. Let him come off the bench and be part of that second unit. Let him do whatever you got to do. That way they'll find a niche for him. I think there is going to be a place for him. It's going to have to be a place for him. And to Moni's point, he's a stat machine because even with the turnovers that he had right now, somehow his level of play allows him to continuously get these great stats. So if we go into a time machine, Terry, and go back, and if when Madeline, my baby, bought me this book from school, it's called The Little Giant Book of Basketball Facts. She bought this for me with her school money. Said, Daddy, I knew you would like that. So every night we talk about a basketball fact. But anyway, I digress. So what I was going to say is that when Madeline gets older and she starts looking at stats, she's like, oh, this Russell Westbrook was a beast. Because they'll look at the stat line. But it'll take Terry to be like, no, hold on now, young lady. Let me tell you something. No, you won't be that old, Terry. To give it context. So I'm going to check this comment and we're going to get to you. You say, yes, sir. You like that too, Kevin, bringing him off for the second unit. Let's get you going, Terry. But also, Monica Jackson says, I don't think the Laker pieces just don't match. LeBron is aging. Westbrook can't shoot. He has 30 turnovers already. Fans just got to accept this team. Pieces don't match. Yeah, but you know what? I will say this, Terry, and I'm going to give you the floor. The Lakers are always building a team for the playoffs and the championship. So we may say it may not match right now. But can you imagine in a game 6, Orlando, a game 7, you looking for somebody and Westbrook has one of his Westbrook-like nights in a good way? I mean, those are things you got to keep in mind. I promise you, Terry, I want you to start talking, but everybody's checking in. Aaron says, I truly believe that Anthony Davis will be their downfall. Wow, okay. I'm not mad. He stays nicked up and he's really not committed defensively. Hey, once he got that one chip, Aaron, and he bought that purple Phantom, that purple Mussolini, Bentley, I think it was a wrap for him right there, but we're going to see. But, Terry, what you got for us?
No, I mean, I think we had to backtrack a little bit to the beginning of the season. I mean, the Lakers, I don't think this is who LeBron really wanted. I feel like with their situation and who they have.
It's not who he wanted, it's who we had to get.
I think we did the best we could. I think the pieces that we had on the roster, the best player they could have traded for with the pieces they had was a guy like Westbrook. They signed Melo, so it's not like they traded and gave pieces. They were able to get Melo, and I feel like they just kind of did the best they could, and they didn't really make many adjustments to the team last year from last year to this year. But I feel like coming in.
Question, Terry.
Yeah.
Will this be the team that will be in the playoff? Will this be the playoff roster, or that roster go change even more?
I think there'll be some tweaks. I think there should be some tweaks, but I think just coming in like. They don't play well, and they turn the ball over a lot. And Russell Westbrook is a part of that. They're bottom half in turnovers per game. Like they're super high in turnovers. They also are bottom half.
It's the early part of the season, though, Terry. Come on.
It's early part in the season, but we're seeing how it translates to the game. I mean, we're seeing last night they blew a 26-point lead. They're obviously not playing defense.
They did.
They didn't defend well against Ja Morant. They didn't defend well against Curry. Shot poorly, but he still impacted the game, allowing Jordan Poole and other guys to play well. Russell Westbrook, he can't shoot 17% from the 3-point line. But it's like there are a lot of things that are showing why the Lakers are horrible, but there's still some bright sides on this team, though. Anthony Davis is, I think, although I do agree with Aaron, he has shown moments where he isn't as committed, but when he's committed, he can be a problem. I mean, LeBron coming in, we haven't seen much of Bron, but he can be a problem as well. But I do believe on the fact that it's an 82-game season, regular season.
There it is.
There's still
say it again.
It's an 82-game season, only 5 games, so there's still time to gel.
5 games into an 82-game season.
Right.
Why
are we having this discussion 5 games in?
but to be real, concerns are there. But at the same time, though, it's like LeBron James, right? I do believe LeBron does get into these modes where he feels like he can just overdo it and he feels like he can just do it and pass people no matter who they face. I do think if the Lakers don't want a bad matchup with a team like the Suns or whoever that first seed will end up being, I do think they do have to kind of turn the corner, but I think it's too early to panic, though. It's too early to panic because there have been good moments for the Lakers this year.
Well, Monica got a couple comments out there. Latasha Prince is in the building, too. I know that's your fan right there. Hold on. She said, no, the problem is they have no shooting. They messed up on that Buddy Hield deal. A lot of people talk about that. They blew that. She also said, you see the Warriors gelling like Lakers have a ton of talent and name, but most old. These young teams running them out of the gym. But here's the thing, and how can I say this in a way that's not negative, but the reality is that we got to play for injuries. We got to play for some changes. We got to play for, are we going to have some people sitting for COVID? Will there still be some COVID injured reserve, if you will? Hey, family, Latasha Prince. I know you're representing for the McCord clan. Too many egos on one team. I would love to see Melo get a ring, but I don't know. This will go. It's only 5 games into the season, everybody. 5 games in. They don't even care about these games right now. It ain't even that type of thing. I just think that we all are on it, and I'm not mad at it. Oh, what you thinking, man? I know you made your comment. You say 5. You can say 5 and drop the mic for the most part.
I want to. Look, it's only 5 games in. This is LA we're talking about. This is anything can happen in LA.
Yeah.
They could green screen and CGI a win into the this is
here's the thing. And I put this question to Terry to our audience. Do players still want to come play for the Lakers and play with LeBron? Do people still want to come there?
I don't even think LeBron is a part of it. People want to play in LA.
Yeah, I agree.
They want to be a part of that mystique. The thing is, it's way too early. There's plenty of time for them to right the ship, to get it together. My biggest fear has always been, and somebody, I forgot who it was, made the comment, the way the Warriors are gelling right now. We're 5 games in.
Monica said that. Monica Jackson said that.
we 5 games in. I'm good to see him gelling, but the point is you can peak too early.
Yeah.
I'd rather see LA struggle and peak at the right time.
Now Aaron, our family, Aaron said, Terry Jr., you said, yes, it's a long season, but they can't be losing games like this because of seeding. I think they throw seeding out the window. I think all they want to do is be healthy.
I don't know. Last year, when they played the Suns, I thought that was a bad matchup for the Lakers, and we saw it. That's why I think that the Lakers got to turn the corner. But I exactly what Mike Hoospage said. I do believe at that 25 mark, that's where you make that adjustment.
Mike Hoops.
Right.
Good point. Mike Hoops said, I say, wait, 25 games.
There you go.
We judge, but the Nets struggling too, but it's too early. Yeah, I just think that we got that. The season is back on, and we thinking that the playoffs is tomorrow, man. It's like it's almost like you want to be like Ivo. You want to be like practice. You're like, dude, we just getting this started. Well, it's good to see. But listen, I had to add this one aspect, and I know when I put ideas out for the show, when I check with you guys, this Ja Morant, man, this Ja effect. Oh man, I wish I had some video, dude. Ja's out here doing something different to people, man. He doing something different to people. And it's like all I think about when I see him play is I think about his dad talking about how he played in the backyard and how he was underrated, and he was not the first round draft pick. I mean, we're not even hearing about Zion and what's going on, if you will, but it's like, what is going on? Miles Bridges is early, but he balling his ass off. Yeah, Miles is balling. And I think I want to add something to that too when I go back to Ja. As I mentioned earlier, Mike Garland has a new role, a new title with the Michigan State basketball program as special assistant. And this is a question that I asked Tom during media day, because he had mentioned, hey, I got to be able to let Mike be able to get on a plane and go help Miles. So he's all about, Tom is thinking legacy, and he like, look, I need to get the best player, but I also got to have somebody like a Miles Bridges playing really well. And I think that is a great opportunity for him. But I just want to say, man, Ja Morant, he's different in the sense that nobody's doing what he's doing, and he's doing his own thing. And it's like, you better just watch. What are you guys thinking about Ja Morant and how he's kind of starting this season off and what the season may be like for him?
It's just it's straight up passion. It's a whole different, when you get a guy like that, it's straight up heart, passion. He's on a mission to prove something and to make a name for himself.
Yeah, wow, right on time. Aaron just said that. I know it's very early, but Ja Morant has to prove himself in the playoffs. Y'all, okay. in the playoffs. That's fair. Mike Hoops page said Ja Morant is an effing monster. He and Curry battle tonight.
His
Still
jumper's
got to get a
improved,
better
though.
jumper. But you know what, though? I'll simply say this, because you guys mentioned it earlier. We talk about my guy LeBron. We talk about age and, people like Curry. Ja's the future of the league. Because you think about it. I mean,
Right.
who got more games left in them? Ja Morant, Steph Curry, or LeBron James? Ja Morant's going to be around. And if he playing like this now, it just remains to be seen. And then, I love the Grizz. They got a lot of Michigan State guys. Shout out to Jaren Jackson Jr. Shout out to X. You shake it up a little bit, add a different piece, man. It could be a whole different thing. So I'm just saying, I'm officially on Ja watch. I'm like, the Ja effect is real. I think it's just something when you see a player, man, that kind of freezes the whole court. And that's what I've been seeing in him, because whether you call it schoolyard, backyard play, but he does things like that one play he did where he dribbled from out the corner and the whole, 3 or 4 guys collapsed on him. He went up for the jumper and dropped it down to open man. Dude, that's a whole different thing. Carla Watkins is jumping in. Is there any connection, Orlando, with Carla Watkins?
That's the youngest one.
Oh, that's
LA.
What's up, Carla?
I'm getting a shout out from LA.
All the way from LA, West Coast, baby. So it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Carla says, Orlando Watkins, you always speak in fact. Yes, he is. That's why he's a part of SPS Edge Show and part of the Brain Trust. Aaron May says what? LaMelo will be the face of the league. You think so? Okay. I won't disagray with that, because he's fine too.
I can almost agree with Aaron on that one.
Yeah, because
him and Zoe balling.
Yeah,
they coming in, man. They just like, LaMelo Ball is just so comfortable. And you got to give credit to the daddy. He said, my baby boy is the best. He said that a long time ago. He said long. And then you look at, this trade, so this is what? LiAngelo's third team. He went from the Lakers to what? Down in New Orleans.
He was with the Pistons too.
Huh?
He was with the Pistons for a minute too, the G League team. He got
the G League team. Okay.
Yeah,
Melo's flat out doing this thing. It's a lot of good things to watch with basketball. Let's just stay with the basketball theme. Let's go see your guy Harden. Let's talk about the Harden rules and what's going on. So this new rule change, Terry, is this going to have a superb impact on James Harden and what his legacy is going to be like? Is this going to eventually keep these guys out of, I won't say the playoffs, but out of Eastern Conference Championship or even the playoff, a title game where they can be playing for the championship? What do you think about these new rules and how it's impacting them? Before you do it, Tay say what's up. Said LaMelo Ball, I love his game. He's must-see TV. He absolutely is, Tay. We appreciate you, too. So, Terry, I'll start with you. What do you think about these new rules and how it's affecting James Harden? And again, to everybody's point, we're only 5 games in. We can't worry about them not, winning games and they lose. And, I mean, teams like this, you got to think about, they go in like, all right, let's see what we can do. They're trying to tweak stuff. They ain't trying to prove nothing. But what you think, Terry?
I mean, the rule change, it definitely causes the offensive player to restructure or rethink the strategy that was there for so many years. I mean, drawing contact, forcing contact, whatever you want to call it, and trying to get to the free throw line. Free throw line is the easiest bucket in the game other than the layup. So it's like a lot of players were literally, moving like on the court to get these free throws. I mean, Harden, over these course of games, Harden has shot the lowest amount of free throws that he's ever shot, early in the season. And so I think it definitely, a guy like Harden, I saw a clip where he uses he's dribbling with the right hand, and he's a left-handed player, and he tries to hook him and get the contact while he puts the ball back in his left to shoot, to make it look like a shooting foul. But that is the offense initiating contact and not the defender initiating contact. So it's a no call this year.
So it's negated when he does that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. So they completely take that away, where the defense has to literally make the contact themselves without you initiating contact yourself. So I love the rule change. It's taking account with a lot of players. I mean, we've seen players other than Harden that pump fake and kind of flop into him just to get the foul call. So it's been a part of the game for a minute. It's one of those things where, like, if I were to do it in a high school or a college game, they'd be like, what is this dude doing? But the NBA has allowed it for so long. And I think Trae Young has been a victim of it because Trae Young and Steve Nash were going at it about each other, because Steve Nash is like, dude, you're just doing it just to get calls. And Trey's like, dude, I grew up watching you. So it's been around for a long time. It's been around for a long time.
Hey, what do you say? Good point.
No, you're right.
It's
been around for a long time. And the funny thing is that they made the rule change during the playoffs while Trae Young was still in. So Trae Young's still getting the benefits of these calls, but they're like, nah, we're going to wait till the next season to put into effect, as they should. But I think Harden's going to have to figure it out. I think he can still be a prolific scorer, but I think this rule change is definitely going to have him rewire his strategy of scoring the ball.
Yeah, I get it. A lot of comments came in during that time. Again, shout out to Aaron Mays. He's our extended brother on this platform. He said, I'm so happy that the NBA changed those rules a little bit back to old school. But Tay, I want to laugh at you because you was like, is James Harden out of shape or is it the rules? And my answer is yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And then also too, Aaron was like, yeah, at Tay, it's both. LOL, right?
Curry got affected a little bit though.
Well, look at Tay. She on it. Tay's a G. She said, but the rules haven't. She said it haven't affected Curry, so Harden just got to adjust. You don't think so? So we got two different opinions. So you think it was a little impact on Curry, Terry?
Well, what I think Curry started, I think the first game against the Lakers, I think is where he felt it because there was a time where he did try to initiate contact and him and Steve Kerr were kind of going at it with the referees and everyone is like, oh, not this year. Like they're not doing that this year. Mm-hmm. And so I think what's funny is that Curry has improved his inside scoring so well over the past couple of years. So then Curry is not just a shooter. I remember back then on his finals run, people were like, man, Curry is just a shooter. He's just a shooter. He's not that much of an inside presence. You take his jump shot away, what else can he do? But over the course of the years where he's been playing by himself, and if Curry doesn't score over 30 a night, they're going to lose by 20. Curry has improved his inside scoring. So I think now that Curry, is able to not really rely on that foul call, he's able to still create his own shot. And he's shown, like he did the first game, I keep saying the first game because I saw he got triple-double that game, that he can do it without – he can play well and affect the game without scoring.
Yeah, shout out to Hoops Hypes. He said, I think it affected him the first game, and he's saying what we all been saying too. So y'all got to relax. It's just the first game. I know that's what we telling everybody. That's the message on the SPS Edge Show.
Breathe,
breath, and relax. It's going like that. And
you got Aaron down there.
He said Curry doesn't rely on initiating the contact like Harden does. I agree, and I want to get to you, O. Also, Hoops Hype said Curry after 4 games looking like a top player. I'm so impressed how he attacks the rim. Yeah, it's amazing to me that the Steph Currys and the James Hardens for so long. I mean, when that rules committee met several years ago, it was a great article. It was people like Steve Kerr, Isaiah Thomas. When they sat down, pretty much the rules committee can curate the next stars in the NBA because the decisions that they make will impact certain players. So when they made the decision that we're going to allow pretty much guys like the Steph Currys of the world to be able to flourish, it kind of got away from, that big man basketball. That changed things. I think these rules can do the same thing. So what these guys going to have to do, they're going to have to adjust. They're going to have to really adjust and see what they need to do going forward. Oh, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I have to agree wholeheartedly with Aaron. The point is that is so much a part of Harden's game. It's not just a simple adjustment for him. That's in his NBA, DNA.
His NBA DNA.
Yeah, I mean that is really a huge part of his game. And when you have that type of personality, he's gonna go some months trying to prove the NBA wrong. And I think we all know that. So he's going to struggle because I think going back, I think he's averaged the past games, he's only gone to the line like 3 times a game. That's unheard of.
It's been hard.
And you got to think about what Harden too, man. Let's just have a history lesson real quick. James Harden still ain't got the monkey off his back. James Harden, one of the top players in the NBA, this expectation, but he has not really gotten his teams to the promised land. So now you add this other factor, hey, I need to have a East Lansing to Brooklyn Jet just waiting for me because I need to holler at the whole, Brooklyn Nets team because they got these different transitions that are going on. And I just wonder if James Harden is feeling that he got to eventually try to carry the team and it's going to always just be on KD. And to be honest, isn't it interesting? I'll just make this note. I want to go to Deion Hoops page real quick. Mm-hmm. Isn't it interesting that for the first time in a long time, Uncle Drew is out of the news cycle. We haven't heard anything about Uncle Drew in a while.
Yeah.
Put that up there. Dion Hoops page, we appreciate you stopping in. Say, I know it's off topic, but I'm so happy for the legend Candace Parker getting her second title. How does it enhance her legacy to you? Sorry for all. No, it's just fine. Let me get Aaron's comment, and we'll definitely touch that. There's no off topics. We just got to rearrange things. So let me holler at Aaron real quick. Aaron said NBA refereeing has to improve during the last 2 minutes of the game. It's still a free show shooting contest. That's cleaned up. The NBA as well. You know what I think, though, man? And Ola, you know about this, being so close to the game and with the officials and all that. It's just such a hard job, even at the NBA level, even as a pro.
That's true. But at the NBA, I'm agreeing more with Aaron. This is like the first time I'm agreeing all the way around. No, I agree because that last 2 minutes, I'm the type of guy. Let them play. I don't want that last 2 minutes. The knick-knack. Let them play.
Yeah.
Let them determine the outcome. There's so many times that I feel that the referees are really determining the outcome of the game. Them last 2 minutes, let them play.
Yeah, I mean, we will see it all the time. We used to feel like they got to over officiate. They have to exert their presence or whatever or not. Dion Who's page also said Durant and Harden about to beg Kyrie to get the shot. Watch. So we're going to see. But, we did talk about Candace Parker last week. And I think it does a great thing for a legacy. It does a great thing for the NBA because she's such a personality. And the one cool thing about Candace Parker is that she has a platform. You're going to continue to see her, with the fellas, Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, and all those guys. She's going to continue to be able to talk and insert that. So I think she's going to have a huge impact. And this is going to be huge for her legacy. And to be honest, for lack of a better term, I think she needed more than anybody else because she'll be able to better carry that on. Aaron's responding to Coach O. Hey, Coach O. And I referee high school basketball for context. And
Aaron, I hope you don't blow that whistle at all the last 2 minutes.
But you know what I wonder, man? I know these guys are professionals at what they do. I wonder if they get caught watching the game too. You know what I'm saying?
No, sometimes, and I've been at games, and I've coached games where you can really see the referee gets so into the game and the excitement of the game. You know the whistle ain't gonna blow. But then I also get those referees because you probably across the country there's a shortage of referees, and they doubling up on their games. I've been told, and I'm gonna tell it. You got the 4:00 Detroit game, and the referee. I'm not blowing the whistle. I got the 7:30 game in the burbs. I don't want to be late.
Oh, you hear what O just dropped on us today?
Aaron, I've heard the same thing.
Aaron, you better get out here and defend that. You better say something, Aaron. You better say something or say no commentary. You say you heard that before?
I've heard that before when games go on.
Yes, we do.
As they run out and get in their Mercedes Benz.
Aaron said, yes, we do. Hey, listen, nothing can be binding or holding anybody on here. Women's basketball said, fellas, I have an assignment since young fella did some work on Cheryl Miller. Okay, what you got for us, women's basketball? So you all go watch this doc called The Women of Troy. It's on HBO next week. Come back with, okay, I promise you.
Women of Troy.
We got another coach saying, yeah, I believe it's so. hey, y'all should have said that to Coach Brown. He'd be like, yeah, I know you trying to get out of here so you can do another game.
He's going to challenge every referee before the game. When they come up to me, he'll be like,
Aaron said that's true. Don't worry, Aaron. We'll keep you covered. Terry, is anything else you want to share on this before we transition? And let me just say before we get to this next topic, my mother said, I don't got nothing to say to Terry about this topic. You said, wait a minute, he Ohio State. I ain't gonna worry about it. But my mom made a comment like, I got nothing to say. I said, this Ohio State. You don't worry about that. So anything you want to add, Terry, before we transition?
No, I think a lot of people in the league are starting to realize that, especially the prolific scorers, that it's going to take much of an all-around kind of game style to win these games. And I'm starting to see a trend, and I like this trend where they're valuing winning more than just stats. I saw a tweet come up with Lillard talking about he's not really worried about the stats. Curry said the same thing. Guys are starting to realize, like, look, if we want to compete, because a lot of the top players are starting to get of that age where it's like, hey, we got to make our stride now. So it's all about winning. And I like that trend that I'm starting to see because that's what it should always be about. But sometimes personal accolades sometimes kind of take take a hold of what's going on the team. And so it can be kind of hard to just be about winning.
Well, speaking of Dame Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers, I was so happy seeing C. Billups walk off there with that win.
Oh, yeah.
I know he be so clean. I know he hating they going casual. He was ready to pull his suit game out of Orlando and show them. One more comment from women's basketball. She said, "Yeah, I love the doc, and I want to get your thoughts. We'll make a point that we get Women of Troy on deck." So we're gonna take a break again and acknowledge our great sponsors before we get into Paul Bunyan Showdown in East Lansing, MSU versus U of M. They rubbing their hands together. So we'll take a quick break. I just want to thank my guy, Horatio Williams. H is going to be in the building for the Michigan State game. He'll be making his way up and hanging out with us as well. He's doing such great things with the Horatio Williams Foundation. Also, Gilead Sciences as well. And Dick's Sporting Good. Tomorrow, I'm going to be in Detroit. Shout out to Chauncey Willis Jr. Be supporting Detroit King. They're going to be playing against the West Twins over at Warren Fitzgerald. It's going to be the first round of the playoffs. It's going to be at King High School. So we'll be down there. Again, I want to thank Horatio Williams Foundation, Dick's Sporting Goods as well, and Gilead Science for supporting us. We got one more comment. Carla says, "Go State." Well, with no further ado, let's get on into it. I'm going to let you get us started, Orlando, before we go. But before I do, boy, what a weekend this is going to be. Michigan State. Now, not only do I have a Paul Bunyan trophy with Mel Tucker, but I got a Halloween costume going on by my guy E. Ham. Everybody said hands down. Eric Hamilton, my frat brother and proud Michigan State alum, he won the Halloween contest just out the gate. You see him right there. You almost don't know who's who. You know, the way they're sitting right there. But I shared that with Mel Tucker, and he got the biggest kick out of it. He liked it. But Eham is that's a good brother. Went to Michigan State. He's my alpha brother. He loves the school, and he went all in, and he has shut everybody down for the Halloween concert. Excuse me, the Halloween tradition. And again, Coach Mel Tucker was quite amused by it. Got to talk to him briefly today and wish him the best of luck this weekend. And Aaron May says, Tuck coming. Also, shout out to my guy, Miles Miller, a very proud University of Michigan alum. He made this comment when I posted this. I was trying to get a picture with both Michigan and Michigan State, with the trophies, but I couldn't. So I just went with this, and that was it. There we go. We got some Michigan people out here. Go Blue. Go Blue. Kevin Marshall. Shout out to him as well. So I'll start with you. What is your take on this big weekend? You got these two teams. You couldn't have scripted a better, weekend showdown. 7-0. They're both coming in to the season 7-0. We do know there's some monsters on the other side of that schedule, after this week. But what else could it be? The Spartans had a trophy. Michigan is playing its best football in years. I think the last time they had this type of 7-0 start was like what, 2015, Terry, or something like that. Yeah. Say again, Terry.
Right when they went to the college football playoff. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the kind of run they're on right now. And with that being said, Orlando, what do you think about this weekend? And who's gonna leave East? Where is Paul Bunyan gonna be Saturday night? Let me ask you that.
I've been good at making my predictions and calls, so I'm gonna make it real brief because we've got the football expert up there in the corner. But the thing is that this weekend, and if you take the football, aside, this is Michigan is going to be on standstill at 12 noon.
And I like it because it's early. Let's get right to it, baby. Right. Let's get right to it.
Yeah. So here we go. Is everybody writing the pen down?
I'm ready. I got my pen.
FanDuel, everything else. Look.
Move the line. You about to create the line right now.
There it is. I am absolutely. It's going to be a close game, gentlemen. I think it was an evenly matched, but I'm going to have to say go green. I got State by 3 points by a field goal.
By a field goal. Let me ask you this: will it go beyond regulation?
No.
Wow. In the regulation, my guy Miles Miller. We were talking. I think the line was 4. He said he thinks it's going to be 2. So Orlando is saying State by 3 with a field goal. No extra minutes. We're going to get right down to it. And Paul Bunyan is going to say, let me ask you this, though, before we get to the sage, the wise one himself, Obi-Wan, Terry McCord, get out here. If Michigan State does win and Paul Bunyan stays in town again, not talking about Michigan, but what does that say about Mel Tucker? Because that would have been Michigan State beating their Ohio State. Terry, I'm not trying to get you all worked up just yet, and then you're gonna have
Ohio who?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, what does that do for Mel Tucker and Michigan? They're already trying to say they're trying to get him up out of here. They're trying to get him at LSU. Who knows? USC. I mean, if he wins this game, which will be probably the biggest game on the calendar for them, not talking about Penn State, Ohio State, because it's a different kind of rivalry. What does that do for his stock and just his legend already, Orlando, if he does keep Paul Bunyan in East Lansing?
The contract negotiation, the next time it goes around, is going to be a lot easier. The pocketbook opens up.
It opens up. They say
the red carpet is rolled out.
Carla say, Watkins say, State will win. She say, yes, Dad. Yep, State will win. That's right. Aaron, before we get Terry, says, will MSU be able to break down U of M defense through air and or ground? That's what it is. Here's what I'll say before the Sage gets going. It don't matter what you had going on. These type of games is not about that. It's not about what you've been doing, what's been going on. In my opinion, it's about the emotion and how you manage the emotion of a game like this. Aaron also said, if MSU's win, Tucker will secure the bag at State. Yeah, he was already.
And this is the thing, Lindsay. Coming off a bye week, you're at home. It's the little things that's going to make that difference. And
you don't got to get on the road, sleep in your own bed.
And you've had that time, that little bit of extra time to prepare.
Yeah, and he's big on that. So let's get to the man. Tell us what you think about Michigan versus Michigan State. Who's going to have the Paul Bunyan Trophy at about 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. And what's the outcome going to be? And don't let your bias seep in, because I got a feeling Michigan not winning is good for Ohio State. But go ahead, though.
I'm all objective here. I'm worried about that 7:30 game, but I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, it's the first time these two are undefeated since 2010, and it's the first time. It's the first time that these teams are ranked in the top 10 since 1964. So a lot of stakes in this game.
Hold on, pause. 1964.
Since they both were in the top 10 facing each other in 1964.
Wow.
So it's
your dad, Terry McCord, says, go MSU. Tuck got that Ohio blood in him. Terry trying to claim him now.
It's been exciting, but I think that this game, man, I think both teams are just itching to make an impact on a good team. Because both of these teams are hearing, it's back heavy. The schedules are tough in the backhand. This is each of their first game on that back heavy schedule. So I think that coming in, I think both teams are itching to make an impact and get to that back end schedule. So I think that Michigan State obviously trying to come off of that big win last year that they weren't supposed to win, and I think Michigan's trying to get that big win to come off of last year, because I think Michigan's still feeling that loss from last year. That loss to MSU has, Michigan beat Minnesota that first week, and everybody was counting it. Oh, it's a win. Michigan State lost to Rutgers. And it's like, after that first win, it's like Michigan just plateaued and just went back down after that loss. And I think Harbaugh knows it. The whole building at Michigan knows it. But what I think is so fun about this game is that both teams do things very well that I think both teams will be able to stop the other team's favorite plays or their comfort zone, I would say. Because Michigan State, they want to give it to K9 and then be able to give Jaden Reed and give their playmakers the ball. But my X factor is going to be Peyton Thorne. Is Peyton Thorne going to show up and be able to deliver, make plays, step out of that game manager zone? Because in rivalry games, it's important for quarterback play. We got to reduce turnovers, and we got to be able to create plays with a team like Michigan. They both have athletes on defense. So Peyton Thorne, you got to be able to make plays. But Michigan, Blake Corum is probably one of the best running backs in college football right now. Dude is just hard to tackle. He's like a little porcupine running. Like, you can't grab him. You can't get him. But he's just that good of a player in the open field. But I think my X factor for them has to be Cade McNamara in that Michigan wide receiving room. You guys got to be able to create in the air. You're not going to be able just to sit and run the ball. I think Michigan State will come to play. They're going to try and get number 2 out of the game and not let him impact the game at all. But I do think that Cade in that Michigan State wide receiving room really has to make plays and be able to open it up for him to run the ball. So my pick, honestly, so I was going back and forth. Michigan right now has a 56% chance to win. I don't care about that. I was looking for anything to help me feel secure about my pick. And honestly, I came in thinking Michigan, but I thought about where it was at and how the Spartan Dogs get active in Spartan Stadium. And then I was really feeling it. And I'm like, maybe Tuck he's 2-0 against Hardball. But then I thought about what kind of player Peyton Thorne will show up as. But I think he's got it in him. I'm going Sparty, but I think they win by 7. I think they get a touchdown. I think they get a touchdown. I think it's a dagger touchdown. I think it's one of those touchdowns where they're driving.
Is this regulation or extra time?
I think it's regulation. I think it's one of those where it's tied and they kind of bring it down. I would say even maybe 10. I think it's one of those games where Michigan State, because Michigan has been more vulnerable to me than Michigan State has, although Michigan State has had some close games. But I do think that Michigan has a side where I don't know if they'll be able to throw the ball really well. And I think a lot of it's just because they may not have shown much, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're saving it. But I do think that Michigan State is better all around right now. And I also want to see my boy Andrell Anthony have a good game. It's his homecoming, so he's coming back to play. But I'm only cheering for him. I'm only cheering for him. If he breaks out for a 100-yard receiving game, I'm happy as heck for him. But I got to go with the Spartan Dogs in this one.
So Aaron said, I agree with Terry, but we got some difference of opinion coming from North. From the Saginaw country, my man Kevin Morris said, man, y'all wrong. 24-17. Michigan will have too many turnovers. State will have too many turnovers. Oh,
I was on the edge. I was on the edge about that too. Because Peyton Thorne can be a little trigger happy with the ball, but I think he's the X factor where he's got to be able to read the defense, and they're going to make it hard on him. And I think the difference is if he will be able to get the playmakers the ball and throw people open. You got to be able to throw people open. If you can't throw people open in games like this where your emotions are up, they're going to be playing tight on Jaden Reed, Jalen Naylor. They're going to be all on them, but you got to be able to get your playmakers the ball and be able to allow them to be great.
I totally agree with Aaron Mays. Very thorough analysis as well.
Extremely thorough.
Yeah, we will see. It's going to be a 12 noon game. That meant that by the time you get up, and one cool thing about a 12 noon game, with the exception of Terry, who's not a drinker at this point of his young age, it justifies drinking early. Woo, they're going to be getting at it, man. So one more thing before we get out of here. This is relatively short, but it's been a very substantive show. I want to thank everyone who's been chiming in with it. We got a great group. We got a homework assignment at Women's Hoops page. Just put us on. We got to watch the Women of Troy. The other night, man, and I say this as a very relatively new Tom Brady fan, but I got to take a little umbrage with what happened on the podcast, that they do with the Manning cast, if you will, and whatnot. And it's so cool. But he made a comment. Appearing as a guest on ESPN Manning cast, Brady explained defense philosophy succinctly. Defense is kind of like a dog chasing a car. Just get the guy with the ball, Brady said. And it's not so much about his comment, but it was like mafioso silence. Nobody said anything. Nobody argued back and mad. I think Teddy Bruschi, his former teammate, said, Tom Brady, you're not my friend anymore. That's almost like, dude, give me a break. That's like a slap on the wrist. Like, come on, man. Somebody should be like, dog, what you mean we just like a dog chasing? Like, whatever. It's like it was such a knock that I think that if anybody else would have said that, oh, I think it would have been firestorm.
Well, you know what? The thing is, it's silence because the defense is going to talk to him.
Oh,
when they hit the field.
Oh,
the defense gonna speak very loud and very quick. You don't have to say nothing in the media.
Thank you.
You just better pray he can make it through the season.
I'm trying to see their schedule. Who they play next? Who they got coming up? They got Sunday. They play the Saints. So who's on the Saints defense that's gonna be a monster that's gonna go after?
Well, they got Cameron Jordan. I mean,
hey, and I don't care what you say. The Saints put out bounties.
Look, every defensive player out there that he's got to face from here on out, it has that extra bit of motivation.
Would you say that's chalkboard? That's chalkboard stuff. You know, bulletin board information.
Yeah, it's going to be posted in the locker room.
Oh, you say, "Oh, we a dog. Let me go be a dog. Let me be a dog."
Yeah,
and just show you what's going on, whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Wow. What'd you think, Terry?
I think it's interesting because I think it's just the offensive bias that he has. I mean, he's never been on defense before, and a guy like myself that was recruited to play defense is like defense is more than that. I mean, I think playing on defense, what I would argue the cornerback position is the hardest position in football, is because defense is a very reactive position, no matter where you play. So it's a lot of IQ that goes into playing defense. I mean, you're like as a corner, you're going against probably one of the fastest guys on the team. They already know where they're going, and you have to react and stop him from going where he wants to go. And that goes for linebacker, DN, D-line. D-line, are they going to run or pass?
Right.
Linebackers, are you going to cover? Are you going to stop them, plug the hole for the run, or get back to your zone? So playing defense goes without speaking. It's a very reactive sport, and a lot of IQ goes into it, which I think is it's troubling for me because it's like, how could someone say that? And they've been a part of such great defensive teams that Belichick has put together to bail his butt out. I mean,
Tom Brady's a very calculated person. He once said that he doesn't say anything without thinking about it. I think he got too comfortable, and I bet he wish he could have brought that back, Terry.
Right. And I think that him going back to those Super Bowl teams that Belichick has created such a great defense. I mean, that defense will stop, but they won't let you. And I think it's so funny because it's like you've been a part of that. You've been in practice with these guys, Vince Wilfork, Devin McCourty, a lot of players that Belichick has just transformed. And he's been a part of such great defensive teams that have helped him win his ring. So it's like, how could you say that? And I mean, with the league now being so offense heavy, it's like, it's almost like a pass. Everyone's giving it a pass because it's like, well, that's just defense. We're here to score and we want to see high scoring plays. But I think a lot of times defenders don't get enough credit because it's such a reactive position no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
Offense wins games. Defense wins championships.
Woo! There you go. Spoke like a true coach. I believe it. We got somebody making a comment real quick. Hey, Patricia. Hey, mama. Yep, that's right. I told Terry that you wasn't gonna make no comments, but he didn't say nothing about Ohio State. We was just talking about Michigan and Michigan State, man.
Hey, the score is gonna say for itself tonight. My boys ready. They ready for Penn State. So
they're ready.
I have nothing to say. I'm worried about 12 o'clock game.
12 o'clock. We go see. Well, with that, guys, great show, man. So good having you guys. So good having you back, Orlando. I know you want some of that Orlando weather. You was 80 plus degrees down there?
88 when I left.
Oh man.
And hold on, let me just say this.
Yes.
I got my gift with my namesake team. Went to go see Orlando and the Knicks. Gary, I believe Ferris State could beat the Orlando Magic. That is the worst team I have seen.
They're horrible
in a long time.
Wow, you think Ferris State could get it in for them?
They're horrible.
You saw Julius Randle play pretty good too.
That
team is no joke.
I forgot to tell y'all, my mama a Michigan fan. I forgot to tell y'all that.
Yeah, I heard about that. I felt bad.
You can't say I heard about that. We're good, man. Well, with that, it's Lindsey Hollis from the SPS Edge Show. Got my guys, Orlando Watkins holding us down, Terry McCord Jr. You guys are great. We're all going to be glued watching the game at 12 noon, and we know Terry will be watching some extra games after that. So with that, guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you for supporting the SPS Edge Show. Thank you to the Rachel Williams Foundation, Gilead Science, and Dick's Sporting Good. See you guys next time. Take care.